and welcome to part 4 of my strong female characters in Star Wars series. Just a quick note before we begin, everyone on this list, aside from the final entry, is from Legends. So kicking off, we have Alina Daru, a Twi'lek who started out a slave on Geonosis before being rescued by Darth Malgus, and soon falling for the Sith Lord. She fought alongside Malgus during the sacking of Coruscant, proving to be his greatest strength, as the injuries she suffered during the battle fueled Malgus's anger, giving him the upper hand against his enemy. Alina often spoke quite openly with her Sith lover, even at one point inspiring mercy in him. Maris Brood was Padawan to Jedi Master Shaak Ti after the events of Order 66. After having been warned by her former master of Vader's involvement in the slaughter, Brood sought revenge, only to be dissuaded from that dark path when Ti stumbled upon her. Brood was skilled in close combat, as well as a range of force abilities such as Beast Control, which allowed her to tame a Bull Rancor, a feat which native Felucians thought impossible, and Force Cloak, which allowed her to evade Starkiller's senses for a time. Carl was a Night Sister who turned her back on her sisterhood and left her homeworld of Dathomir, but not before stealing a prized artifact from her fellow Night Sisters that allowed her to assume the form of a raven. Decades later, Carl joined a band of marauders and eventually became second in command to the self-appointed king of Endor. Through her affinity with the Force, Carl was granted longevity and over time increasingly grew her influence over the Marauders. Dulana was a Wookiee exiled from her homeworld who joined a band of smugglers where she met Han Solo as a young boy, becoming a surrogate mother to him and overseeing his education. At one point, she even saved Han from the clutches of a deadly fever, eventually committing the ultimate sacrifice to protect him from his abusive captain. Solo, feeling forever indebted to Dulana, was later moved to rescue Chewbacca, who became his lifelong friend. Tenennial Jo was a member of a mountain clan of Dathomir witches before becoming Queen Mother of the Hapes Consortium, a matriarchal monarchy located in the Hape star cluster of the Inner Rim. Tenennial was highly gifted in Spell of Storm, a technique which allowed her to manipulate air currents to create a maelstrom. As Queen Mother, her word was considered law. Alana Solo, daughter of Jacen Solo, possessed a strong connection to the Force and survived encounters that most adult Jedi could not. From an early age, her father taught her the ability of Force stealth, and Alana proved to be capable of rapid self-healing. She also demonstrated the ability of precognition, as well as the Jedi mind trick, and used Force Bellow to stun an attacker and escape him. Tenel Ka, daughter of Tenennial Jo, joined Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy as a young teenager, becoming close friends with Jacen and Jaina Solo. Tenel Ka proved stubborn and serious, choosing to rely more on her physical capabilities than on the Force. Despite eventually developing strong romantic feelings for Jace, she fought against him after learning of his fall to the dark side, and in the wake of his death, she placed his daughter under the protection of the Jedi. Anya Kuro, who later gave up her name to become the Dark Woman, trained several Force sensitives of later prominence in the Jedi arts. Though after her failure to train Aurra Sing, she entered into a self-imposed exile, only to later return to the Order to operate as a spy during the time of the Clone Wars. Kuro was a highly skilled Jedi, capable of teleportation through the Force. Her combat abilities even allowed her to hold her own against Darth Vader despite her advanced age. Mally Merrick was a Jedi Knight who served during the Clone Wars, though despite her upbringing, she developed strong attachments and even entered into a secret marriage. During the Jedi Purge, she and her husband went into hiding on Kashyyyk before giving birth to Galen Merrick, who would one day become Starkiller. Later, Mally was killed fighting Trandoshans in defense of both her family and the Wookiees. Mira was a Mandalorian Neo-Crusader and bounty hunter turned Jedi Sentinel. During her time as a bounty hunter, she easily stood apart from others in her line of business, given her belief that killing was not a necessity so long as one knew their enemy well. After being hired to watch over Mitra Surik, Mira eventually became one of her followers, which led to her learning the ways of the Force. Natasi Dalla, despite being looked down on due to her gender, became the first woman to reach the rank of Admiral in the Imperial Navy. She was taken under the wing of Tarkin, rising through the ranks alongside him and eventually becoming romantically involved with him. Later, Natasi was named Chief of State for the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances. During the waning years of the Republic, Callista Ming served as part of a rogue Jedi sect that rejoined the Jedi Order so as to aid in the Clone Wars. Callista even fought alongside Anakin Skywalker during a mission to rescue a Republic agent. After surviving the Great Purge and reconnecting with other survivors, Callista later embarked on a sabotage mission against an Imperial dreadnought, which ended in her shedding her physical body and becoming one with the ship. Her lingering spirit eventually came to aid none other than Luke Skywalker, after which she managed to regain a physical form. And despite having lost touch with the Force, Ming continued fighting against Imperial remnants. Before I continue, here's a quick reminder to like the video if you're enjoying, and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for future content. Also, if you're looking for more ways to show your support, you can find a link to our Patreon down in the description. And as always, remember to leave a comment down below telling me your favorite character on this list. Continuing on, we have Eve Yarrow, an Imperial spy who answered directly to Lord Vader. While operating under an alias, Yarrow devised a plan to gain the confidence of the Resistance and gather all their leaders together so as to eliminate them simultaneously. A plan which ultimately proved successful. Saba Sabatine served on the Jedi High Council before ascending to the rank of Grand Master. Prior to this, she participated in many important campaigns during the Yuuzhan Vong War, battling her own shortcomings in order to aid the Skywalker family, and later taking on Leia Organa as an apprentice. Sabatine's close ties with the Skywalkers also led to her becoming a close friend of Mara Jade, as well as helping Luke battle and ultimately destroy the dark entity known as Abeloth. Marax Tarek Horn, a smuggler turned rebel due to her friendship with Wedge Antilles, aided resistance cells and refugees during the Thrawn campaign. After marrying a Jedi Knight, she took special interest in the Jedi Order, becoming acquainted with the Skywalkers and developing a close friendship with Mara Jade in particular. Sintas Vel became a bounty hunter at a young age, which eventually led to her encountering and later marrying the infamous Boba Fett. Sintas was part of a race known as the Kafar, subsequently gifting her with unique psychometric abilities. Despite being hardened by her profession, Sintas had a softer side which only showed around her loved ones. Komari Vosa, despite earning high regard from her master Count Dooku, was banished from the Jedi Order and later fell to the dark side. Following these events, Komari began amassing an army of slaves and assassins, becoming a cult leader whose influence reached across the galaxy. This influence allowed her to form connections with powerful crime lords such as the Hutt Cartel or the Dugs of Malastare, and as her power ever grew, she gained the attention of Darth Sidious. As a side note, it was actually Komari's lightsabers that were later given to Ventress. Iella Wasiri Antilles worked for the Corellian security force before turning spy for the Alliance to restore the Republic. Later, she became a member of the New Republic Intelligence and eventually married Wedge Antilles. Throughout her multiple careers, Iella proved herself stubborn yet capable, foiling kidnapping attempts and working undercover on numerous occasions. Winter Kelchu was raised as a sister and companion to Leia Organa during the reign of the Empire before eventually becoming a pivotal player in the Galactic Civil War, where she most notably served as a spy to the Rebel Alliance. Winter had a holographic and audiographic memory which gave her a special advantage in piecing together confusing situations or even simply computing data. As Leia's closest friend, aide, and confidant, Winter assisted Leia in raising her children. She was also good friends with Akbar. Zasha was a female bounty hunter who wore custom armor comprised of both Mandalorian and clone armor. As Boba Fett's occasional partner, she accompanied him when he was tasked by Lord Vader with apprehending a clone of Galen Marek. Unbeknownst to Fett, Zasha had received her own mission from Vader, one which involved collecting genetic samples and memories from Boba for the purpose of cloning him, a mission which Zasha carried out without ever alerting her fellow bounty hunter. Shae Vizsla, also known as Mandalore the Avenger, gained notoriety during the Great Galactic War. Being a ruthless bounty hunter, Shae was often employed by the Sith Empire to undertake risk-intensive missions, which made use of her martial skills. However, despite partaking in the Empire's largest campaigns against the Republic, Shae later allied herself with Satele Shan, Grand Master of the Jedi Order, in order to defeat Revan. And after accepting the title of Mandalore the Avenger, Shae led her people to their first victory in many months. Bria Tharin was a commander in the Alliance to restore the Republic, who worked to end a slavery operation, employing the aid of numerous smugglers including Han Solo, who she had previously formed a romantic interest in. Tharin also led the squadron responsible for retrieving the Death Star plans and delivering them to Leia. During her years of service, Bria established herself as a skilled negotiator, thespian, and strategist. Tasha Rio was a member of the Jedi, an organization of Force users residing on the planet Tython which existed millennia before the Galactic Republic. Preferring to use her Force abilities rather than weapons, Tasha achieved the rank of Journeyer in the Jedi Order. Through her extreme proficiency, Tasha was able to deflect blaster bolts with her bare hands, and later she became a seer, sharing her visions with others. Despite Force users being practically unheard of on her homeworld, Nadia Grell had explosive capabilities with the Force, leading her to become a Jedi Padawan. Though unlike most Padawans, Nadia had to balance her training with her life as a senator, a position she inherited from her father. Later, however, after her promotion to Jedi Knight, she gave up her title of senator in order to fully dedicate herself to fighting the Eternal Empire. Ceci Eris was a Twi'lek pilot who served in the Alliance to restore the Republic, accompanying Wedge Antilles on an escort mission to deliver some much-needed astromechs to Yavin 4. During the mission, they came under attack by TIE fighters, causing Ceci's ship to receive critical damage. Instead of following orders and abandoning ship, Ceci put her X-Wing on a collision course with the TIE fighters, sacrificing herself to ensure the escape of her fellow pilots. Aelin Vel, daughter of Boba Fett and Sintas Vel, grew into a successful bounty hunter like her father, even assuming his identity for a time. Though due to her mother's presumed death and her mistaken belief that Fett had walked out on the both of them, Aelin developed an intense hatred of her father, spending much of her life hunting him. However, after his rumored death, Aelin began researching Mandalorian culture, which led her to encounter the father of her future daughter, Murta Gev, who they raised together during the events of the Yuuzhan Vong War. Amber Comarch was an Imperial socialite who, after being rudely awakened to the true nature of the Empire through the death of a close friend, became a spy for the rebellion, operating under the codename Tigress. Later, she openly defied the Empire in order to rescue Imperial prisoners. Though the rescue ultimately led to the death of her father, Amber remained with the rebellion, giving up her privileged lifestyle to serve a cause she believed in. The Contessa was a skilled starfighter pilot who served the Alliance to restore the Republic, being driven to join the rebellion after the death of her family at the hands of the Empire. The Contessa was responsible for coordinating the fragmented Alliance's starfighter defenses in the aftermath of the Battle of Hoth. As leader of Corona Squadron, she commanded pilots through several missions around the galaxy, culminating in the Battle of Endor, after which the Contessa left the Alliance to run for presidency on her homeworld. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button, and keep an eye out for the next installment in this series. I'm your alibi, and I will see you next time. Maris Brood was Padawan to Jedi Master Shaak Ti after the Ents. Oh, okay. We're going Lord of the Rings now.